The Clarke County School District was recommended for accreditation by a report given from AdvancED at a called board meeting Wednesday, January 16th. The review team observed 29 classrooms and interviewed 340 stakeholders during their review process Monday and Tuesday. Chair George Griffin remarked that your district overall, in terms of focus on student achievement, is way at the top. Nobody deviated from that. It was refreshing and commendable. AdvancED, formerly the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, or SACS, is the world's largest educational network and evaluates 30,000 public and private schools throughout the United States and 70 countries nationwide. Their mission is to advance excellence in education through continuous improvement, organizational effectiveness, and accreditation. Here is their report.
The whole purpose of accreditation is designed to help support schools in their continuous improvement efforts. We recognize that we come in for a very brief period of time and we leave. We leave you with some commendations, positive comments, and some recommendations. But the real work was done by the district prior to our arrival. You did your own self-assessment. You took a look at your own strengths and weaknesses, not that you weren't already doing that anyway, but in a structured way, and you applied the AdvancED standards, and you rated yourselves on how we're addressing the standards. We took your report, and we validated it. We affirmed it. We went in. We spent time observing, reading, and listening to people. And I'll share some of that with you in just a minute. That's how we do our work. But the real measure of it is the work you did, and the real work was done prior to our arrival. So that's what really accreditation is about. You did that self-assessment. We are the external review team. Well, you submitted student performance data to us. You submitted survey data to us from your stakeholders. All of that went into our data gathering. A little bit about who the external review team is. You've just met us. We're all veteran educators from various parts of the country. We don't know each other either until we get here. None of us had ever met before until we arrived here in Athens. It's been a delight. And in case I forget when my nervousness later to my team, thank you for the work that you've done. I appreciate it. I know I seem all calm to you guys, but I still get a little anxious. Here's what we did. We visited 6 schools. We observed formally in 29 classrooms. That meant for a minimum of 20 minutes with an instrument we had. We interviewed 167 teachers and professional support staff, 47 administrators, 8 board members, 57 students, 47 parents, 14 community and business partners, for a total of 340 interviews. That's a lot of people to see in 2 days. And it's a testimony to the organization of the district leadership, you school principals that are in the building, and anybody else that was organizing our visit, because you had to pull all these people together for us and make them available to us. And it gave us a nice cross-section of the school system to talk with, and we appreciate that. So we talked to a lot of people. A couple powerful practices, and a powerful practice in AdvancED language means a district initiative or a district behavior that stands way above what you'd expect from a well-performing district. This is not just a pat on the back. This is something that we see and go, wow, other districts ought to pay attention to this. So when we say things like, and I have 3 to share with you today, that this is a powerful practice, we mean at the point we would recommend other people come to you and say, how are you guys doing that? How'd you do that? What's working here? And these are not necessarily in order of priority because they're all important. But the partnership you have with the University of Georgia is impressive, but more impressive is it seems to be working for students. We could see the link. And even more impressive, we saw it in action and talked to the people involved in the partnership, and they were all effusive about the effect it's had on student achievement, both from building level officials to the university professors and staff that are participating in it. We were frankly very positively impressed with that. So good work on that one. Your technology infrastructure and increasing use of instructional technology in classrooms that positively impacts student learning is impressive. I know you've got some ways to go, but there's a commitment, there's resources, part of it's kind of like when you get something new, then you got to learn how to use it. But what we heard a lot of is we're learning how to use it. Some places I go, look what we got, look what we got. But the next sentence isn't there. Here I heard a lot of, we're looking forward to our netbook initiative. I'm looking forward to getting better at using this. I popped into one classroom and found a group of teachers teaching each other how to use new netbooks during their planning meeting the other day. I thought, wow, and nobody told me to go look at that. I just happened into it. I happened into a classroom where a parent was teaching non-English speaking parents how to speak English and at 10 o'clock in the morning in a school building. I was, holy smokes, they're doing lots of really amazing things around here. I was looking for a class to see, but that's what I walked into. But the technology infrastructure is not the point. It's how you use it effectively with students. So good job in diving into that. And then we are very impressed with the leadership here in the district, building level and district central office level, and your commitment to wanting to get in the schools and see what's going on and help teachers and principals and everybody help each other become successful at implementing instructional practices that impact students. And we saw lots of that. And it's one thing to set up the plan, but it's another thing to get out there and help implement it. We saw a lot of evidence and heard a lot of evidence that people are working together. Now, I'm by nature a sort of, yeah, I want a yeah, but kind of guy. And yeah, I can take each of these and go, yeah, but we've got another ways to go. Well, okay. So there's more to do with it. But these are powerful, they were noticeable, and they make a difference. So good work. Keep it up for what it's worth. To the standards. There are 5 standards that we use in AdvancED, and they each have indicators. There are some 30-plus indicators. The 4, starting with purpose and direction, governance and leadership, resources, and the using results, the 4 in the background support the key standard of teaching and learning, teaching and assessment for learning. So I'm going to share some numbers with you, but the numbers aren't really that important. These are your overall ratings. This will make more sense when you get the written report and you have some time to digest it. I will make just a few comments. The district evaluated itself on the indicators and assigned a numerical rating to them. We also evaluated you as we saw your performance on the indicators. We assigned numerical values to them based on our rubrics. And believe me, we spent hours each evening looking at each indicator. My team can tell you, kept them up way too late while we discussed each indicator and tried to triangulate our data and our observations so that we could arrive at a comfortable assessment level. These are our numbers. Those numbers are averaged and put into the standard. If you have a 2.0 on any standard or higher, and again, no one in here is probably interested in these numbers but me. If you have a 2.0 or higher on that standard, you're functioning very well on that standard, professionally and in all regards. If you're anything above a 2, you've got way more positive things going on related to that standard than would be typical. I'll just tell you that. These are high numbers, is what I'm saying in plain English. So good job on these. This will all be described in the written report. So you don't have to try and remember it, or gosh, it'll be as vague as George said it was that day. It'll be detailed what that number means. We went into the classroom, did observations, filled out our observation tool, tabulated our analysis from 29 classroom observations, and came up, and we have 7 areas, or environmental areas we call them, on our classroom observations. We weren't looking at teachers. We weren't evaluating teacher instruction, or we weren't even paying attention to teachers. We went in as if we were a student, and from a student's perspective, were these opportunities available to me as a student in the classroom? This doesn't mean a thing to you right yet, because you're looking, oh, what does that mean, and what does that number mean? Except I know some of you are trying to figure out which one's high and which one's low, because that's what I always do immediately, see what they are. I'm going to share with you what this means real quickly, and again, it'll be in the report. Look at number 4 and number 6, and I'll read them to those, for those of you who can't see it. Your highest ones, 3.1, which, by the way, this is a very high average rating for these standards. This says in plain English that your students are actively engaged in learning activities in the classrooms. This was all grade levels, randomly chosen classrooms by us. Nobody told us where to go. So a high level of students actively engaged in their learning while they're in class. That stuck out. And secondly, your classrooms are very well managed. We didn't, off script here, we didn't see any problems. I saw a few teachers redirecting kids, but geez, they're kids, you know. Your students interact respectfully with teachers and peers. Students seem to know rules, routines, behavioral expectations. What it says to me in plain English is one of the high priorities in the district, or the highest things we saw, was that schools, classrooms, and the buildings are well managed, well run, and the kids are aware of the rules and are very respectful. And I'll tell you off script again, the staff was even respectful. And you know, I go to some schools and the staff is kind of like, ooh, they're not in a real good mood today. They treated us politely. We appreciate that. Building level staff that in the building, it was great. And I'm a former teacher. I'm a former high school principal. And anytime someone treats me with respect, I appreciate it. You know, in high school, sometimes they don't know you're anyway. So active student engagement and well-managed classrooms, very well done. Right with it. Number 3.0. Students are provided support to understand the content. Your classrooms are safe for students to take risks in. They were not afraid to ask questions. They were not afraid to say, I need help. And when they said it, they got the help. That's what this means. And it's a very powerful practice where the environment in a classroom feels safe enough to students that they can fail or say they don't know something or get help. And believe me, if I did 5 more districts and put their scores up, you don't see the 3 points rising to the top like that. And I'm not here to make you feel good, but you should feel good because you deserve it based on what we saw there. So that's what those higher areas mean, 3.1s and 3s. And you know, I'm not going to quibble over the distance between the numbers because that's not the point. Right behind it, learning activities are challenging but attainable. It says you have high expectations for students to learn. This fits nicely with what I think the conversation has been all about, and that is student achievement here in this district. So you could say, well, it makes sense. And I know if you're like me, you're looking at that digital learning environment going, what's that 2.1 doing? That's kind of low there. It's not low, first of all. Now, keep in mind, our observation is, were the students at that moment using technology for their learning? Not was it available, not does the teacher normally use it, but at the moment we were there, are they using digital technology for learning? Again, if you're at 2 or above, there's evidence that that was going on. That's all it means. Enough said. It'll be more detailed in the report. But I did want to spend time not looking at the numbers, but making sure you understand what it is we're talking about that we saw. All right, we have some required actions. Number 1, we have 2 required actions and they relate to each other. One is to prioritize your current staff development initiatives in order to create a targeted professional development program. You have a handful of things going on here that are significant, that are huge, that are making a difference, initiatives with kids. And you've got staff development aimed at it. We're just suggesting that it be pulled together and organized a little bit so everybody's clear. If I come into the district, if I'm new, here's what we're working on. If I've been here 2 years, I'm working on this, but I'm at this level. Again, this will be more detailed in the plan. These are not to be taken as criticisms or be taken as professional comments from us as to how we think you can improve to get even better than what you're doing right now. And the second one relates to this. And that is to once you get it at the district and building level, bring it down to the teacher level so that professional development plans for teachers are based on feedback they get from their observations and evaluations, and that also support district and school teaching and learning initiatives. So the required action we leave you with really is like this. At the district level, organize it. At the school building level, organize it so it fits into the district level. Not the organize what you've got already, but pull it together, make sure you have a plan. And then at the teacher level, it's make sure I have an individual plan so I, George Griffin, know very precisely for this year what I need to focus on to be a more effective teacher, but that fits with my school and district initiatives, if that makes sense. It's so hard to try and convey this in this kind of a presentation, so we'll put it in the report. And it is our duty to leave you with at least one required action. That's part of the review process. That's it for the required actions. I've got a few more comments I want to share with you. These required actions are system-focused practices. They're designed to support continuous improvement. You will, Dr. Lanu, in 2 years, you will get a letter from AdvancED saying, back in January 2013, you were asked to attend to these required actions. Please let us know what you did, how you've been doing it. It's a little mini report. So AdvancED follows up on things in a couple years. So that's what happens with them. You won't have to see us again for 5 more years, no matter what. And that should make a lot of you feel good. I know it makes Tim feel good. Here's the process. We are the external review. The national, state, and national office review our report and our recommendations, and twice a year the Accreditation Commission meets nationally to award accreditation to schools. Now I know there's only one thing y'all been wanting, most of you have been wanting to hear me say is, could you just get to the point, or are you recommending accreditation or not? And the answer is yes, we are. We recommend that you be accredited, pending the official review, but it's pretty much a done deal. This would be a good time to take a breath and give yourself a round of applause. Good job. Excellent work. And we thank you for your hospitality. I can't tell you how much fun it's been being here. Like I said, I'm from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I figured, oh, it'll be just like Chapel Hill. You guys are way better off than Chapel Hill. A whole lot more fun here. But well, we appreciate it in all sincerity. You guys have been great to us personally as well as professionally, and it made us feel at home. And it's been a real pleasure to be here for just a few short days. We're very impressed with. And I'm going to repeat myself, but I'm going to do it. We are very impressed with the conversation and focus being about students and student achievement. And you know what? I heard the word all students a lot when I got here. I hear the word all students everywhere, but I felt it here. And I felt it everywhere we went. No excuses. I kept hearing, we don't make excuses. We just want to get it right. I heard teachers say that. I heard principals say it. I heard parents mention it. And I certainly heard it from the administration, but it was just evident. And I'm not, again, saying that. These are thoughts going through my head. They were very powerful from the moment we got here, and we never saw anything but that the whole time we were here. So good job with that as well. And with that, I'm going to finish, Dr. Lanu. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You again, and as Dr. Griffin said, these are just general, their perceptions. We'll get that report. We look forward to that report. But if I can, at least in my mind, take away from this presentation is really what we've been talking all along. And that is that we are about performance. We are about our kids succeeding. We are about taking our children to a new place that they didn't think they could be, or to take kids to a place that they had clear goals of where they wanted to be. There are no excuses here. The powerful practices are unique and special, and if I can reiterate, I think I'm on safe ground in saying that many districts now have no powerful practice. And so for us to have those powerful practice in the areas that we feel are priority are, to me, incredible. I appreciate the work of everyone to make that happen and the affirmation from this accreditation committee, external review team. And I think the other piece that is that from this, again, looking for affirmation is the work that happens in the class. And we talk about leadership and professional development, but ultimately it's that interaction both academically, emotionally, and personally between teachers and students that happen in the classroom. And so I think probably ultimately when we walk through of all of those things, the thank you goes right down to our teachers. Our teachers who every day go into classrooms prepared because they're talking with their colleagues, which is what we'd hoped they'd do. It was evident. But prepared because they go in with the belief that our kids can learn. And I think that, absent of that, we go nowhere. With that, we open tremendous opportunities for our children. And so thank you, team, for recognizing for our teachers that they believe our children can learn. They have discussed what they need to do as professionals to have that happen, to have connections with our children. And when you put that together, that's just the trajectory. So with all the powerful practices and recognizing the fact of our really high scores standing out in those areas are probably the kinds of conversations we might not have had 10 years ago. But we're having them today, and we'll have them again in 2 years, and we're going to have them again in 5 years, because they always have to occur. It's not going to go away. So I'm real pleased. Obviously, I have that, as you know, with the district and our progress. We have made outrageous gains in our practice. We have made outrageous gains with our children. And I think we've made outrageous gains as professionals in doing different kinds of work to make it happen, because we have to be reflective. So thank you for affirming those things, those kinds of experiences that we want in our district. And I also want to thank our external stakeholders, as I wrote to them today, who came in and talked, because as we talk about classrooms and children and leadership and central office and principals, that wouldn't be there if we didn't have our external stakeholders, which are our parents, which is those business, those in our government, all those who play into the support that we need as having a school district as the epicenter of our community is critical. And I think their attendance at our meetings and their conversations about how important it is for a school district to thrive and help support a community was certainly evident in the conversations, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. So, you know, with that, I've said enough. There's a lot to digest here, but the experience has been tremendous. I want to thank this team again, and knowing that they're just going to fly back home or drive back home, and tomorrow they'll start their job just like we will, and that's a lot. But this has been a good experience. We grow from it. It's about affirmation, finding gaps, getting better. That's the course we're on. So to all of you, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ledoux. Thanks to the review team, and I need a motion for adjournment. Moved by Ms. Davis, seconded by Dr. Spain. All in favor. Thank you very much.